And we're back.
Yes, we are. Once again, here to cover one of the last of the podcasts we'll be doing about this season of BB Can. Believe it or
Yeah.
not, it will be ending this week.
There's,
I can't believe it.
Yeah, there's going to be after this one, we'll obviously cover Monday and Wednesday, and then we'll cover the finale separate.
Yeah, but yeah, we're at Final Five. So as expected, this will probably not be that long of an episode because it's Final Five and there's not as much to talk about. Although I will say, I thought for a Final Five, this was actually a pretty interesting week with the way everything turned out.
Actually, like everyone was gaming a lot.
Everyone was gaming. It was very hard to tell where it's going to go. This end game is turning out to be very exciting. And again, I think we need to hand it to that fucking red gummy bear. Like, honestly, it saved the entire season.
In all seriousness, the red gummy bear.
In all seriousness, I know Adrian brought this up like on Twitter for me with me. Like, Summer getting the safety when she did very much turned the season around a positive direction. And I think where it's headed now, we're definitely heading into what I think is probably one of the more exciting Final Fours that we've seen in a long time in Big Brother.
It's been so good since she won that safety.
Yeah, definitely. It's been very unpredictable too. Not at all the end game that I would have expected. We're gonna go ahead and get into everything that happened, which I'll be honest with you guys. Monday's episode is probably one of my favorites of the entire season. I thought it was just so chaotic the way everything went down. The majority of it is kind of just like reeling from the triple, but it gives us everything you want in a Big Brother episode. You want fights, you got it. You want like betrayal, you got it. You want like, power shifts, you got it. Like for me, it was like, this is like a perfect episode of Big Brother with like the way this episode goes down, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So basically the Final Five are discussing how wild it is that they made it this far and how insane the triple eviction was. And Kevin talks about how he and Helena lied their faces off about the Final Five alliance and how they were able to successfully split up the showmance. And they very much did play an active role in that. Kevin and Helena have pretty much been getting everything they wanted up to this point. But I will say, I think this is the first week they made a mistake.
It could have gone. Yeah, like honestly, what they do is not the best move, but they also were kind of they were on good terms with both. It's just they were just like
I'll talk about why I think they made. I'll talk about why I think they made.
They were mostly just like trying to think who they could beat.
Yeah, I'll talk more about why I think they made a big mistake in a little bit, but we see JL is very upset to have lost Gino. He was her number one in this house, and now she very much feels alone, which she's not wrong. She kind of is. But we see Marty actually gives kudos to Betty, Josh, Kevin, and Helena for successfully flipping the game. Again, he just kind of like gave up. Like he accepted the fact that people were playing better than him. And you know what? I've said a lot of shit about Marty, but I respect that. I respect the fact that Marty was like, you know what? That's a good move. And I'm glad that, that ended up happening. Like, I think in spite of everything Marty's done, I actually respected the fact that he was like, you know what? Good job. And it seems like he's not like too bitter about it.
Probably his best move of the season.
Yeah, honestly, which is really saying a lot about.
Well, obviously putting up Gino was also a great move.
Oh yeah. So Jacey-Lynne confronts Marty on Gino's blind side and asks if this was his plan all along. And he says that he generally has no idea what happened because it seemed pretty clear that Josh was leaving and he feels like they've all been together from the start. And he admits he only threw the gummy bears into the ring because he thought she would flip too. I don't know why he would tell her this when like she has a chance of winning HOH and possibly putting him up, but I wouldn't expect anything less than for Marty to just ruin his game in seconds.
Oh my god, I know.
But basically, she says that Gino should have never been thrown in the ring with the gummies, and if Marty had his mind made up, Gino would not have left. Again, this is one of many fights that we get in this episode, and it's very
so chaotic.
It's very spicy. It's very spicy for sure. So after Josh wins HOH, he wants to make this HOH as clean as possible. Remember that. He wanted this to be like a clean HOH, no blood on his hands whatsoever. I don't know about that, Josh. I really don't know. So he knows he has to keep Haleena and Kevin because of the crash test dummies, and he needs to keep Betty on his good side. So he felt no other choice than to put up Summer, which I will admit, when hearing that logic, it definitely makes sense. I just think Josh has put too much emphasis into the crash test dummies because Kevin and Haleena most of the time have not really strategized with him. They've kind of just like latching on to him as like a third. And I don't think he realizes that, but he does realize it later on, just not yet. And that's what was frustrating me about Josh's game, is that I feel like it was pretty obvious. So like Kevin and Haleena are not really as well aligned with him as say Betty, who's been loyal to him from the jump. So I get why I get why he put up Summer in that sense, but I still would have much rather preferred him putting up Kevin or Haleena because it would have been a much better move for him, I think, overall. So Betty confronts Josh about why he put up Summer, and Josh thinks that she won't go home because everyone likes her, and regardless of whoever leaves, they will vote for her to stay, which he has neglected to tell Summer. He did not tell her about this at all. He just kind of like put her up, and
he's just like, fuck it.
He talks to her about it. Betty's shocked that he put her up and that there clearly is something going on that she is not aware of. I will say, Betty's reads this week, amazing. Like so good. Fucking phenomenal, like honestly. And I've seen a lot of people recently be like, oh, Betty did nothing. Betty just kind of sat back. And you know what I say? You know what I say? Fuck no, because Betty never had that power until recently. That's the only reason you can't say all these moves that Betty made. But Betty definitely did do a lot. And the one thing that she's done really well is that if there's someone that she doesn't want to like, work with, she doesn't bother doing so, but also in doing so has been able to figure out a lot of what's been going on in the game. And I think that she's had some of the best reads of everyone the entire season. Summer feels blindsided, and Betty reassures her that she will vote for her to stay no matter what. And Haleena then talks to Josh and says that if she wins this, she intends to not use it, and Jacey-Lynne and Marty will go home. So Josh feels he will be public enemy number one in this house after how this HOH turned out, which is not too far off. That's kind of what does happen. So Betty feels they can easily get the numbers to get both Marty and Jacey-Lynne out, and that if they pull this one off right, this could be his game-winning move, which, ideally that is what would have happened here, but obviously that's not quite how this turned out.
We then see the same argument between Summer and Josh. While this fight is going down, Jacey-Lynne calls out Haleena and Kevin and calls them both liars and that they make her sick.
And can I just say, I love the fact that this fight was going down the exact same time as Summer was yelling at Josh. Like literally,
it was so funny.
Like, it was crazy. And Kevin's just like sitting back and like enjoying all of it.
He's like, "Where's the popcorn?"
I think he literally said that.
She feels very betrayed by them, and Haleena says she feels the same about her, and Haleena tells her she's not angry at her, and they can talk afterwards. JL feels it's twisted. Haleena has so many number ones in the game, and it doesn't add up with the way she acts, and she calls her a snake, and JL says she doesn't blame Kevin, but she does blame Haleena because he never promised her she was his number one, and wonders why she would preach that. And Haleena tells her that she doesn't want to do this right now, and then tells her she talked down to her, and JL feels she is giving her a lack of respect, and Betty tries to get them to relax.
And honestly, like, I have not liked Jacey-Lynne, at all this season, but I did understand where she was coming from here. Like, Haleena is someone that she has bonded with in the game. She thought that they were on a good path, and Haleena did not really give her that respect at all. And I will say, Haleena is not doing great in terms of managing the jury. Really not at all. I think that
she really, if she gets there, she just has to really own her game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just talking about in terms of jury management. She's doing
feel like
really.
She could get some votes. It's just they just really gotta like ask her those questions, and she's just gotta own it and like explain.
Possibly, but her jury management is really not good. And I think this conversation is a perfect example of that. Like Haleena, doesn't want to own anything that she did. She doesn't understand why people are upset.
I feel like she's trying to like own her game. Like I feel like she's gonna like own that stuff at the end. Like maybe she's trying to use that for like her speech and stuff.
I say it's Final 7. You can't really do that anymore. I think Haleena just needs to like. I think what Haleena needed to do here was like just be open to Jacey-Lynne about the kind of game that she's playing, and I think Jacey-Lynne would have respected it more. I think, Jacey-Lynne probably doesn't want to work with Haleena after that, but I think if Haleena was just open with her about it a little bit, I think they could have potentially worked things out. But this was really bad for Haleena for sure. Very entertaining fight, but they're not very good. Not very good for Haleena.
Everyone seems to be going at it except for Kevin.
Yeah, no, he's literally just sitting pretty. It's great.
I know, it's so funny. After winning the veto, Jael surprisingly tells Summer that she's voting for her stay and that she shouldn't have been put in this position, which is.
And I was shocked about this. Like, I feel like Jacey-Lynne. I feel like Jacey-Lynne has been gun ho about like targeting Summer from like the jump. Yes. So like, I was very surprised.
I feel like she just thought that's who like Gino wanted her to stick with, but it never seemed like Jacey-Lynne liked Summer that much.
That was always the problem, is that Summer wanted to latch on to Gino, but Jacey-Lynne didn't want to work with Summer. I think if Jacey-Lynne had actually like put forth that effort to work with Summer, I think that her and Summer's game relationship would have been a lot different, but obviously that didn't happen. So yeah, this was just kind of like random, like, okay, why are you saving Summer?
Probably because she was also just very betrayed, so it was kind of like a moment thing.
Yeah, it was also kind of just like a big fuck you.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have liked it if she did. It would have been surprising, but
it would have been iconic.
Yeah.
Josh tells Kevin and Haleena to vote to save Betty. Josh is unhappy that Jael won the veto, but he's happy Marty is leaving. He tells Betty he's going to put her up, and she is very shocked. He tells her Summer didn't have their best interest and was generally considering voting her out until he convinced her otherwise.
And in a sense, I get what Josh was trying to do here. I just don't think he handled it right. I think the way that what Josh should have done is, if Betty like won power, he should have convinced her to not use the veto because Summer was a threat and Summer was like gonna come after her. I think if that's like, if he wanted to do that, he should have done it from the start. I just think with the way he was doing this now, with them both on the block, there's really no reason to try to start this chaos. So I think he had the right idea. I just don't think he did it at the right time.
Oh, yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Betty talks to Kevin and Haleena because she's super worried and nervous, and they assure that they will save her. Kevin asks Josh if he wants anything, so he says a cookie, which, okay, this is really funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's so random.
Yeah, that was funny.
Jacey-Lynne
I wonder if you got that cookie.
Oh my god, right?
Yeah.
Maybe like during the break or something.
I don't know. Should I go get a cookie?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna go do that. I'll be back.
Okay. Oh, it's so funny. We all love cookies. They are amazing. And this season has been so iconic.
I'm back and I have Nutter Butters.
Yes. Are those the ones that we got?
Yes.
Or that you got before I got there?
Yeah, we didn't eat them.
I know. Next time. We can get some next time.
Yeah, but let's get back on track here. What if I literally got up to get a fucking cookie? Name another podcast. Name another podcast that would stop the podcast so the other person could get up and get a cookie because they want to make a stupid joke.
It's literally because you're just in that BB can vibe. Obviously.
Yes, exactly. Like, name another podcast that would do that. We're doing it. No one's doing it like us.
I know. Like, what other podcast would? Jacey-Lynne is confused that Josh wants to put up Betty since she's his number one, and she begs Jael to save her. Which, I mean, Jael's never really been that fond of Betty, so.
No, not at all.
JL goes to Josh and talks. Was that supposed to say talks?
Yeah, I think so.
In the notes here. JL goes to Josh and talks about Kevin and Haleena and how untrustworthy and snaky they have been. And that they are question marks who just tells him what he wants to hear, whereas Betty has been loyal to him this entire time. And JL hates the fact both of them will still be here tonight.
Again, she was like hot on a trail for Kevin and Helena. And this is what I've been talking about. Like, this Jacey-Lynne is way better than the Jacey-Lynne we've been getting like for the rest of the season because Gino's not there. Like, if Gino wasn't there, this would have helped her so much. And I've seen Jacey-Lynne say in interviews, oh, Gino helped my game. No, he didn't, because Jacey-Lynne was seen as like the one that was just kind of like sitting back and not doing anything. But I think this week she actually showed that like she can be a decent social player when Gino's not there. I think she just literally needed to not have Gino there, and I think she probably played a much better game.
Oh for sure.
So yeah, honestly, like this Jacey-Lynne,
she had this fire in her that round.
She did. And she definitely like had the right idea at points. She just wasn't able to do anything with it.
No, for sure, yeah.
So
she literally just secured her safety. That's it.
Yeah, that's really it.
Summer thinks she never would have thought Josh would end her journey there, and that he should have been honest with her and with Betty as well. And if she was an option over Kevin and Haleena, he should have just told her that.
Which I agree. Like, I don't understand why he didn't just, like, that she's going to go. Why not just tell her, like, hey, I've been working with Kevin and Haleena this entire time. Like, we have this alliance. Like, and then Summer leaves, like, impressed. Summer leaves because she understands that, like, Josh had the respect to tell her that, and she respects his game more. Like, this could have been such a good HOH for Josh, but, like, because he just made so many, like, little careless mistakes, it was, like, really not good for his game at all.
Oh no, not at all. He really like went from such a good position to a bad one.
Yeah.
Josh brings up to Betty that Summer didn't even want to vote her way when she was against Hermon. And Betty is on to Kevin, Haleena, and Josh, which they both deny, and Betty is thankful that they kept her.
Yeah.
Haleena, while overjoyed that Josh kept her and Kevin safe for the second time, feels he may have ruined his own game.
Which she's kind of right, at least.
She is right. Oh, yeah. They talk to him about how upset Betty is, and he says he will give her a day to compose herself, but feels this may not have been the best move for his game.
And I asked the question, why fucking do it then? Like, why did you put up Betty and not Kevin or Haleena? Like, I don't understand. Like, this is like I said before, he should have gone in with putting up Haleena because Haleena hasn't gone up yet. Like, everybody can get behind that. That is such an easy reasoning this late in the game. Literally just say, Haleena, you haven't gone up yet, so I got to put you up. Like, everybody's going to be fine with that. So, like, if he would have just done that, like, Summer and Haleena and Marty probably go, and that's good for Josh because then you have Kevin all to yourself because he's worked very closely with Kevin. He definitely wants to keep Kevin on his good side. He'd have Kevin all to himself at that point. He's got Betty as well. Josh would be in like the best position in the house if but again, because he didn't think it through as well,
it just really messed up.
Yeah, he really did. But like I said, that whole like 20-30 minutes was so fucking riveting to watch, even though we knew the outcome, Allie, of what was going to happen. There were so many little things going on like behind the scenes, like during the commercials that like we generally didn't know about, and it added so much to what was honestly a really great triple eviction. I think.
I loved it so much. It was so good.
This is definitely a triple eviction. I think we're going to be talking about for sure. I think in terms of like
amazing, one of the
some
best.
of the all-time greats. So yeah, this season's really delivered in terms of like live nights. Like we had the amazing safety chain, and then we had the triple. So like and yeah, it sucked to lose Summer, but like honestly, and like look, I enjoyed I didn't say this in the podcast, but like I enjoyed Summer a lot. She was very entertaining to watch. I just wish Summer did a lot more in the game. But it seems like
she just like played such an amazing game pre-jury, and then like when it got to jury, she just went a little downhill.
Took her foot off the gas. She did. She didn't really do like much of anything, and I think it's two things. I think one, a lot of the people that Summer could have worked with left too early. And so she was kind of like stuck. And then she wasn't able to find any sort of new allies to like really fix her positioning in the game. And she just kept going lower and lower on people's totem poles. And it sucks because, again, I think Summer was such an entertaining player. And also Summer for Canada's favorite player, please do.
Yes,
I can't because the fucking site doesn't work for me. But I highly recommend you guys vote her because I think she was ridiculously entertaining.
Oh yeah, she definitely deserves it.
Yeah, definitely deserves it for sure. I think in terms of like most entertaining of the season, Summer's definitely up there for me. It just sucks that it couldn't unfortunately be translated into really good gameplay. It was at first, but really went downhill after the
I feel like the majority of them are really entertaining.
Oh yeah, there weren't a lot of duds this season in terms
besides of like Gino.
Yeah, and Gino was Marty was not boring. That's the one thing I will say.
He wasn't really boring. He was just problematic.
Marty was just bad and not easy to not someone I like rooting for. No. Like Marty I put on the same level as like a Kyle where they're like really bad at the game, really not the greatest person at all. Highly problematic in a lot of areas, but my God, did they bring just all the entertainment and unpredictability to the season because of their terrible gameplay. So that's the level I put Marty on. I think in terms of like boredom, it's really just like Gino. Like nobody really like bored me this season. So
same.
Yeah. So it's time for the next HOH comp, and this is easily like one of my favorite HOH comps that they've done this season.
It's so original and so good, so amazing, incredible.
Yeah. BBUS really needs to like learn from this because like,
BBUS take notes.
Yeah, no, they've done such a good job this season with like having all these like original like ideas and things like that.
Oh yeah,
we see season 2 and 5, legendary queen Aika Wan does return to host, and the house guests talk about how much they love her. We get a bit of like a Zingbot type roasting session with her, except this is actually funny. So like
like it's not over the top at times.
No, and it wasn't like forceful either. Like a lot of the time with Zingbot, it's like Zingbot just needs some kind of zing. So like
I mean it's not terrible. It's just like some of the
it's just very like low hanging fruit, you know, like it's like it's not really, it's like very obvious things, nothing really that
very
funny.
Forced.
Whereas I feel like Aika's was just a lot more savage. Because her roast for
savage,
Josh
natural.
She roasted Josh that he like cries all season and that he's gonna cry over this too. That was really funny, especially after what just happened with Kevin. Her roast for Jacey-Lynne is that she focuses more on HOH and not kissing Gino. She will have a letter, but she's not here to grant her one. I thought that one was really good. And then she roasted Betty on her constantly being on the block and surviving. Didn't get a roast for Kevin and Helena, at least from what I saw.
I mean, unless it wasn't shown.
That's what I assume. I assume that she did it. They just didn't have time to put it in.
Yeah, maybe because like they ran out of time on the episode. That could be.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I think she probably would have roasted Kevin over like his like, you know, him almost leaving, and maybe she roasts Helena over not. I don't know what she would roast Helena
maybe
over.
Not being on the block, or maybe her just being clumsy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. But I would have liked to know about that. If there's any way that we can find out that information, send it our way because we don't know what she said.
I know. I'm so like. Wanting to know. I'm eager.
It doesn't matter that much. It's just like something I'd like to know. So
it'd just be so cool.
So the comp is very fittingly called Shred That Letter. Aika's gonna read quotes from the fellow house guests from either nomination, POV, or eviction ceremonies this season, and they're gonna write down whoever they think said the quote on the envelope. And after Ike reveals the correct answer, they must shred all their letters, a la what she did in season 2.
Yep.
So if they're correct, they earn a point. And the house guest with the most points after 6 questions will be the next HOH. And we get a pretty close score here between everyone. But finally, we get something that I have been excited for a very long time. Betty does win this Final 5 HOH. Woo! And I was very excited for this because I feel like I've been saying this for Betty all season. Betty is playing the game. She just hasn't had the power to really do anything. This time around, she had the power to do something. And we've all been asking, like, because a lot of these, house guests, they haven't been winning a lot of comps and things like that. Who's going to be that like pair is, I think it could be Betty. I really do. Like she won a veto. She won an HOH. I think Betty could very well just kind of like comp out here. And I could see her potentially, winning the game because of it. So yeah, I mean, I think Betty killed this HOH, and I love the fact that she's winning comps now. It's really what she needs to do. And that's something that Kevin can't do. Kevin's only won like one comp. So like Betty already is like beating him with that. And we've seen that this jury seems to care a lot about comp wins. And I think that's definitely gonna help out Betty in the end.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Betty says
I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, me too. So Betty says she's been playing this game a lot with her heart and with her emotions. So she's just got to think more strategically with this win. She may have just won, but she's pissed at Josh since he put her up in the triple for no reason. So she feels kind of like expendable to him now. And Jacey-Lynne talks about how it's actually not the worst thing to happen that Betty won HOH since she's angry with Josh right now. But she also says that her and Betty don't have the greatest track record game-wise, so earning her trust is going to be extremely hard. So Josh doesn't really want to be around Betty right now if she's going to be like really petty. So they all go upstairs to Betty's HOH room, and we see she's very emotional as he pictures of her family. She gives a shout out to Wendy's and things like that. She reads this letter from like her boyfriend, all teary-eyed. Really good moments overall. So yeah, really good moment for sure.
Betty decides to take Kevin to Wendy's because she's a little suspicious that him and Josh are working together. She wants to see how close they really are and what's in his mind moving forward.
Which is like the only time I feel like they've taken someone to Wendy's that they aren't going to target. That's been like the thing all season. It's like, we're taking this person to Wendy's because we're going to target them.
I know, it's crazy. So, even though she regrets not targeting him.
Oh, yeah, she definitely should have. We'll talk
she gets a video message from season 9 winner Tynesha, which is iconic.
Yes, finally somebody I recognize because I watched that season.
We love Tynesha, we do.
We do love Ty. We do. Amazing. Played an amazing game last season for sure. And I will say, whoever wins this season, I don't think played as good of a game as Ty. I think his game was really fucking good. He really kind of set the standard for like what you should do at the end. And there's no one that's like really doing that this season. We've had some really great gameplay, but I feel like Ty definitely like is a stronger winner for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
She's very excited and says he's a very handsome man. He says she's got to start thinking about herself and who she's going to bring to the end. And that's exactly what she needed to hear.
Yes.
Love that moment. Kevin says him and Helena got people to do the dirty work and that they've been invisible. And as the ghosts, they've been able to pull off some of the biggest moves of the game. And he intends to keep that going.
I don't know if you're going to be successful with that, Kevin. I got to be honest with you.
I know.
We'll talk about that.
Kevin says him and Josh are working together. And he thinks Josh beats anyone. He's open to anything this week, and he said he underestimated JL, especially with how often she has won safety when she's needed to, and could be very dangerous in the end, and he feels she is a strategist of the showmans, which is true.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Betty agree she's played an incredible game.
Betty is incredible, but it's...
No, I'd say like she's played a pretty good game, but not super like incredible.
No, I mean, let's say she survives this week, starts winning comps, starts targeting the right people. Yeah, her game definitely goes up for me. But because of the way it ended, I think it's just a very like fairly average game. Had the right ideas, but just never was able to like really had do anything with said ideas for them to like come to fruition. So I don't think Jacey-Lynne's game was that great.
Betty has been weary of Kevin, and she thinks he's extremely intelligent and very well insulated in this game. She knows she can't trust him, and she isn't oblivious to anything. And then that's how Monday ends. It just ends off as that cliffhanger.
Yeah, this was a really good moment. You're starting to see that Betty's like catching on to Kevin's game. Like I said, she's had really good reads, but especially this week, she has really amazing reads. It just sucks she didn't really do a lot with them.
Oh, it was so good. Betty talks about how quiet things have been since the triple, and there aren't many people she wants to talk to except Josh, but he backstabbed her.
Right.
She says when she's mad, she doesn't talk to someone until she's feeling better. And Josh hasn't.
We've seen a lot this season. She did it with Marty. She did it with Gino. Like, she's done that a lot.
Oh yeah. And Josh hasn't come to speak to her since he put her up in the triple, and she doesn't think it's her responsibility to talk to him when she has a lot of explaining to do.
Well, she's right.
When she has a lot of explaining to do. Haleena is shocked she hasn't hit the block yet. She talks about how much work she's been doing in the background and is happy that Betty won HOH, and her and Kevin have been working on her for a long time. The main point was to make her have doubts about JL. They constantly planted information about how untrustworthy she's been.
And I think they've done a good job with that, but also just Jacey-Lynne has never really valued Betty that much as like an ally. So it's
no, for sure.
I feel like Haleena and Kevin were taking a little too much credit for that because yes, they did that, but it's also like Jacey-Lynne didn't really care much for Betty. So it's like they didn't really have to do much.
They were also just trying to stay off the block.
Oh yeah.
Haleena tells her how thrilled she is. She's finally won HOH and that she's always had her back. But honestly, I kind of like Haleena Betty's friendship. It's like very underrated.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they've always like bonded and it was cute.
Yeah.
Betty says she plans to put up Josh in jail, and as much as she's upset she put her up, she feels he probably still did the best thing to her because it caused her to stop playing with her mind and not her heart. And she can't keep aligning with people who are winning comps.
Which is true. That's definitely something she can't do because they're gonna win in the end.
True. Even though game is not about just comps.
It's not, but this jury seems to value that a lot.
Yeah. Which is like, if Haleena survived, she needs to like win that HOH if she wants to get to the end.
That's the thing with Haleena. She really has not won the stuff that she needs to. Like she's won, well, now 2 vetoes, but that's not enough.
Yeah, we'll see. Josh talks to Betty about why he put her up on the block, and he tells her how much he felt he owed Kevin and Haleena because Kevin used the veto on him and Haleena had his back as well, and there's a strong possibility either of them went home and had he put them up. Betty says she's pissed she tells him everything, and though they never solidified anything, she's been blindly loyal to him, but it's made her realize she's been playing for him and not for herself. True.
Yeah.
She feels that he saw her as expendable, and she needs to think about how she'll play her game.
Yeah, no, exactly. So we see Jacey-Lynne talks about how after everything that's happened, she wants to try to form something with Betty since she really is her only option left to work with. And she doesn't do a particularly great job at this. She brings up how much Kevin, Haleena, and Josh have done her dirty and that she's the only person she would never target. And that Kevin and Haleena use Marty throughout the entire game to get them to this point, and that they have lied to her face the whole game. And she brings up how she heard she had the secret POV, and Jacey-Lynne does own up to this. And she says the reason it wasn't used was because Gino felt that if Marty left, she'd be the next one to go, which is complete bullshit. That is not at all why that didn't happen.
Literally.
And Betty correctly doesn't believe a second of this. This was just not a good pitch at all. All she was doing was giving her information about Kevin and Haleena that
pretty much
was valuable, but I don't really feel like Jacey-Lynne really talked about anything that she could do to move forward with her. This
wasn't that good of a pitch.
She is a better pitch later on, I will say that. But from a nomination standpoint, this was not good. So we get to the nomination ceremony. Betty does stay her ground and shows how much she really is playing for herself by nominating Jacey-Lynne and Josh. And Josh is not surprised about this, that Betty successfully clocked his game and that she's playing well, and he's very much here for it. And I like how much Josh was cheering Betty on throughout this entire thing. It shows that his friendship with her is genuine, and that's something I really appreciated. So Jacey-Lynne is shocked that Kevin and Haleena escaped the block again, and that Betty would have had her trust and she could have worked with her to send Josh home. So Betty admits that Jacey-Lynne's on the block because she doesn't trust her and how strong of a competitor she is, and rightfully so, because she's done nothing to really show her trust. I don't know why Jacey-Lynne was surprised about this, but Kevin talks to her about how proud he is, especially having been nominated so many times. And he's so grateful to have played this game and that they just got to keep winning comps. And he feels that he and Haleena are in a great position since if the noms stay the same, they will be the only votes this week. And it's due to all the great work they've done with Betty, and it's paid off. And they talk about how far they've come and that he truly wouldn't have been able to play this game without her, and that they are, in fact, golden for the end. Remember that. Betty talks about how much she trusted Josh and how much her game was shattered when he put her up, and they developed such a strong personal connection, and she's really not willing to just throw it away. And I like that Betty takes this time to like really kind of like repair things with Josh.
Yeah, I love this.
Discard him entirely. And I was really worried that she was going to do that here, that this was going to be an HOH where she was just really focused on like her anger towards Josh. And she, you know, most of it was going to be like, you know, based on like revenge and things like that. And really just like her just really not getting over what he did. But I like that Betty actually did the opposite, where it's like, yes, she puts him up, but then realizes, oh shit, you're actually really good for my game. And I think that Josh was able to successfully do that as well. So I actually do think that in hindsight, while Josh's HOH was bad, it's not nearly as bad as some of the HOHs we've had this season, because he's able to like do a complete 180 for the most part. So yeah, she talks to him and he tells her that he doesn't see her as expendable. And if he comes off the block, he isn't going to put her back up, and that they see each other as best friends. And it seems like they've overall made up. So I was really happy they were able to like repair that overall. So the Crash Dummies talk, and Kevin makes it clear that if one of them doesn't win the veto, one of them is in fact going to go home this week, and they just need to beat Jacey-Lynne despite how tall of a task that may be. So
Betty starts to recognize that Kevin is a much bigger threat than she anticipated, and that he has been in her ear at the perfect time, and suspects that him and Haleena have a final two, which is
again the reads.
Very
the reads
good read.
So good. I just wish she would have been able to do something with it.
I know. She talks to Josh about how much she wants him to win the veto. And she's really seeing through Kevin and how comfortably he has been sitting in this game. And that he's been protecting Haleena the whole time, and the only reason he wants the veto is to send Josh home. This is why she has been so intent on repairing things with him. This really lights a fire under Josh and makes him realize Kevin was the villain all along.
Yep, pretty much.
He feels very played, but he knows he has to keep his cool, which hopefully he can get him to win the veto and send Kevin home.
And I like that Josh like really finally sees the light here, where it's like, oh, they're actually not beneficial for my game. Like, it's a really good moment, because that's been my frustration with Josh. It's like, why are you aligning with two people that very clearly are going to cut you at 3? And I like that Josh kind of like woke up and was like, oh, but I will say this is Betty's move. This is not Josh. Betty was the one who planted this information. Betty was the one who got Josh to see the light. So while you can say, oh, well, Josh finally was able to turn things around, that's because Betty was the one who started to make him have doubts. So I would say this is Betty's move, not Josh.
Oh, yeah, I agree. It was definitely Betty's.
For sure.
JL is brought to the Expedia room and watched a video about the veto. Everyone talks about where they would like to travel, which she studies intently. The comp basically involves everyone walking through 5 different vacation homes, and it's their job to identify which room lines up with the house guests. Perfect travel experience, but they will have to do it blindfolded.
Which is so extra, but like it's so on point, like so on brand for BB Can. I kind of love that.
So good. Honestly,
it's like, why do they need to be blindfolded? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I love their comms. Like, they're so creative.
Oh, yeah.
Very extra, but very creative.
Yes, very much so.
Once they figure it out, they will find pieces to complete a special puzzle. It comes down to JL, Josh, and Haleena, and with a very impressive time of 10 minutes and 22 seconds, Haleena wins her second veto.
Which this was a good moment. I like that Haleena won this veto here, but I don't like that Haleena won this veto because it makes for a relatively boring week after this.
I wish she used it. I feel like she regrets not using it.
Well, if Haleena didn't use it, if Haleena used it, Kevin would have gone up. So I get why she didn't use it.
Yeah. I mean, if she used it on Jacey-Lynne,
Kevin goes up. There's no other option.
Yeah, they would keep him.
Yeah.
Because like Jacey-Lynne would have stuck with them.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Josh feels it's very unlikely Haleena is going to use a veto, and he now needs to reinforce the CTD because they now have all the power this week.
Unfortunately, yes.
Haleena receives a reward for winning the POV. She goes to the secret room and gets a secret message from Kevin Martin. She is able to talk strategy with him for 5 minutes.
Which, okay, I need to nitpick about this. They said 5 minutes. This was like a 2-minute scene. So I call bullshit. I need to see the full 5 minutes.
Again, maybe they had to cut stuff out. Who knows?
I need to see the full 5 minutes because this was like a minute and a half. Come on now.
I know. Or like 2.
Yeah.
He brings up how she has a chance to win the game, and personal relationships continue after, and she wants to be the winner, and she knows what she needs to do, but it's different. She doesn't think the jury is seeing her game, but they don't know how much she's been doing behind the scenes.
She is correct. She is correct.
True. He gives her 3 tips, and she is to stay calm during comms, prepare and visualize her success, and take all of that and pull this thing out because she can absolutely pull this thing out. She is freaking out about actually getting advice from him, and she says this has given her the ignition to keep going, and she has to do what is best for her game moving forward.
Pretty much filler. Not much to talk about here. Let's move on.
I like that.
I mean, yeah, it was cool, but like there wasn't really much of like substance.
Yeah. JL knows that the odds for her using the veto are very slim, but she tries to pitch her to use it and that she would be someone she could work with and get to the final 2 with. And Haleena says she knows Kevin and Josh are close, and Kevin is a giant question mark. And JL says if Kevin goes up, Josh has a better chance to go, and she has a chance to really mess up Betty's noms, which I do think this was a good pitch.
It was. This was definitely a really good pitch, I think, from Jacey-Lynne. It's just Haleena is so tied to Kevin at this point. It's like she can't possibly play the game without him. And I think that's a weakness in Helena's game. I think there were multiple moments where she could have gone rogue and she could have done something that wasn't necessarily beneficial for Kevin because Kevin has done that for her. Like Kevin has done many things that aren't beneficial for Haleena and she hasn't. And I think that's the biggest flaw in Helena's game. I think her game is good. I just don't think it's great because Haleena didn't really do a lot of things that were beneficial for herself. She did things that were beneficial for her and Kevin. And I think definitely her not using the veto both times is not very good. Because like we said before, this
I mean, it also depends on like if it's beneficial for her.
No, but like the jury sees that and they'll say, well, she didn't even make a move when she could have because she didn't use the veto either time. And I don't think that's particularly good for her. So I think that is going to hurt her in the end.
At the veto ceremony, Haleena sticks to her final 2 with Kevin and once again doesn't use the veto.
Boring. Let's move on. Listen, I've been a big Kevin and Haleena fan, but like I wanted to see a move made because it would have been more exciting and it didn't happen. No. So let's get to what happened on Thursday. Not much, honestly, to talk about on Thursday.
I mean, there's a lot of like fun stuff, but yeah, it is a lot of filler.
This was very much like we're at the end game and there's a lot of filler. So there's not a ton to talk about here. We see that Jacey-Lynne feels that if Josh makes it through the week, he's winning this whole thing. And Kevin and Haleena need to realize that saving her would benefit their game more. Which I would probably agree with that, especially with Josh is right now. So Josh bonds with Betty, and this was a really good conversation where he talks about how much he loved last season because of Kiefer, and his mom never watched the show but watched for him, which inspired him to come onto the show and represent the Telltale Nation, and he's so glad to have a strong person like his mom watching. Really good moment, I think. I don't understand why we need to get it so late in the season. I think if we got this earlier, it definitely would have been better.
It was like a very sweet moment, though.
Oh, it was, but it was also like, why are we randomly getting this now rather than like way earlier in the season? It just felt a little random to me. But Haleena feels that this is a big decision because while Jacey-Lynne's better for her game, Kevin seems to feel that Josh is better for his end game. So you can see they're kind of like divided here. Kevin's mind is almost completely made up with wanting to keep Josh, and he's going to get her on the same page. And Haleena admits she doesn't share the same loyalty to Josh really at all. And I think this is the first time we actually see these two a bit divided. They're not really on the same page. And I'm just going to be honest. I think this is what really hurts Kevin's game, is that he's not on the same page with Haleena here, and that he doesn't, but he's also like wavering constantly throughout the week. And we'll talk about that. But Josh and Betty talk, and he hopes that he can convince everyone to keep him and show how big of a threat Jacey-Lynne really is. He feels that even if he wins one more competition, his game isn't as good, and anyone sitting next to him he has a better shot. And Betty says that the two of them are the biggest competitors, and in her mind, getting Jacey-Lynne out is better, but she can't tell Kevin that because he needs to believe it for himself. So she asks him if he has the same trust to Kevin and Haleena that he did now, and he says he definitely sees how threatening that they are. And so again, I think this is Josh does a pretty good job of like really kind of like downplaying his game here. Betty feels that Kevin's very shady and that he will do whatever he can to say whatever to get far in this game. She tells Josh how much he was working with Marty, Gino, JL, and others, and found ways to cater to everyone. He also pinned the two of them against each other, and she asked Josh why he didn't see it last time. And he says he still wants Kevin to think that he knows a lot, but in reality, he's very much onto his game. And he's so stressed because he knows he needs to win a comp in order to win. And I just was like hoping that, again, like this was me wishing that Kevin would have gone up, because it just would have been so much more exciting. Like she has those reads, and it just sucks she couldn't do anything.
Yeah, like if she saved JL, they could have saved Kevin.
I know.
Ugh.
So Haleena talks about how much she trusts Kevin and can be herself around him, and she can see him as a brother who brings the best and worst out of her, and they will continue killing this game together. I like this segment. It was a nice little,
this is really cute. Like their friendship is honestly like so precious.
Yeah, and I like this a lot because they've been really game body, I feel like, and they really showed like how genuine that bond really is. So I liked that a lot. So
but they're also good with they're like very good people, but they also like are game body.
Oh yeah, definitely. So JL talks to Kevin and talks about how strong her game has been and how much people have underestimated her strategy and how she would really beat anyone in the end. And she says that she knows how strong his relationship was with Josh, but he's been on the block every single time, almost unanimously, and that there's a reason for that. And this, I thought, was actually a really good pitch. She brings up how good he is at appealing to people's emotions, and she says if they can get Josh out this week, Betty will be on her own, and they can get Betty out at 4. And he seems generally swayed by her, and now is unsure as to whether or not he wants to vote her out. Now, I have 2 things to say about this. One, this is a really good pitch from Jacey-Lynne. I thought she did
one of her best, actually.
Yeah, no, this again, like this Jacey-Lynne, I wish we had the entire season, because he is actually making some really good points here about how like she is going to stick to Kevin and Haleena. Like Josh isn't going to. He has Betty. Like that's a really good point. But I just wish Kevin wasn't so easily fucking swayed. Like it just is really frustrating to watch. Like he had his mind made up. I don't understand why all of a sudden he's like, well, maybe I do want to keep Jacey-Lynne now. Like, I feel like Kevin just needed to be a lot more confident in this is what we need to do, because then he's going to make Josh feel that much more like expendable to him. And he's giving Josh all this false hope that like he's going to stick around. It's just, and they didn't show that in the episode, but apparently like Kevin and Haleena like literally said to Josh, like, you're not going, like we have you. And for them to like kind of waver with that, it's not great. It's not great for their game. And again, it doesn't take away at all from the game that Kevin's been playing, because Kevin's been playing a phenomenal game. I just think this is his first like really bad misstep in the game. Like if Kevin
he kind of like he's been honestly like just not good in the end game at all. Like he's just like, what is he doing?
Yeah, if
it's very questionable.
Yeah, if Kevin loses this game, I feel like this is the reason why, is because of this right here, him not really being able to make up his mind.
Agreed.
So, yeah, just very, very disappointing in terms of this moment. But they all reflect on the season with some refreshments. I was waiting for flashbacks, because that's usually what we get in BBUS. And then I realized, oh, wait, this is BB Cam. We don't get that thing.
It's a little, well, I mean, it's a little different.
Yeah. So they then are treated to visits from members of their family. This was kind of cool. It's not usually we get like video messages. They were actually like in person. And I will say that Kevin's girlfriend reminded me of us. So like that was definitely a moment that like really touched my heart for sure.
Agree. That was so cute. I honestly like that. Honestly, this whole segment just made me very emotional and just very happy. It was just so sweet. And then I'm going to say
boyfriend.
Yeah, and Haleena and her mom literally look exactly alike.
They do. They really do. And then I think Jacey-Lynne's mom was there too, and so was Josh's. A lot of moms. It was either moms or significant others, but yeah, that was
I loved it so much.
I always enjoy getting
very
to see
wholesome.
The family visits. But we do have one thing of substance to talk about.
Yeah, they were behind glass and they got to speak to them through the phone for 5 minutes.
Yeah, which I liked. I thought that was a nice change. But I thought it was also kind of funny the way they were doing because it looked like they were in prison with like the phones. Yeah. So like it was emotional, but it was also like kind of funnily set up. So
yeah, that's very true. I loved it though.
Yeah.
All right. That we then get a jury segment, which I always love these. We really need jury feeds. I mean,
we really do. We really
BBUS probably wouldn't do it, but BB Can might.
I don't know. They're especially them constantly cutting the feeds this season. I don't know about that.
I don't know.
They have not been great with feeds, from what I understand.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, their feeds have not been great. Like I've watched it a little bit, but not a ton.
Most of the time you're trying to watch, they're down.
Yep, pretty much. Anyway, Gino talks about how he's feeling a little upset and was very pissed at Marty for a while, but won't be making an emotional decision. He wants to make a logical one.
Gino has emotions?
He is shocked to see Summer and Marty, and Summer explains what happened. It's Hermon's 30th birthday, and he's excited to see who's joining them. When Gino walks in, Moose and Hermon are shocked and are even more surprised when finding out how he was evicted.
Right.
I love Moose and Hermon so much.
I do too. We needed more of them. Like they're so like entertaining and fun to watch. Like I honestly need like if they ever do a second chance, it's just bring them both back. Like I think in any other season, like they fucking run this game. I really
feel like a lot of people. Well, I feel like certain people would be second chancers, certain people would be all-stars. Like I feel like Summer would be an all-star.
Oh yeah.
I feel like mostly everyone that actually I feel like at least everyone most of the
people. Feel like in terms of all-stars, it's like Summer, Kevin, Josh,
Helena, Betty.
Maybe Betty, yeah.
Well, and then obviously, and Haleena too.
Maybe,
especially because how she like stayed off the block. It's like a big thing.
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, I feel like Moose because he was really good at comps. Maybe
Hermon. I think Moose would be second chances.
Yeah, I mean, Hermon and Moose could go either way. Tanisha and I think Steph would be second chancers.
Yeah.
Maybe Melina, but she just never bonded with like any of them.
No. I don't know.
I don't know. Gino says he got a tattoo of the gummy bear on his finger to remind Marty.
It's actually really funny.
To remind Marty what he did.
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see after the season, like Gino just like take a picture and be like, "I'll never forget this."
Oh, it's so good. It's like the best moment.
It is.
Funniest thing.
Yeah.
They all recognize that Kevin and Helena were the true snakes of the game all along.
Mm-hmm.
Summer says she will continue to be petty and she will laugh if Josh comes back. Yeah, she would not vote for him.
No.
Gino says JL would get his final 2, not just because of their connection, but due to how strong of a player she is.
I mean, of course he's gonna say that. Like, and
it was actually kind of funny. Summer's reaction was kind of funny to this.
Yeah, and then Gino was like, "You're just jealous." Like that was so good. That was a really funny moment. Yeah. And look, I do think that Jacey-Lynne has some strategy. I just don't think she's really like implemented it until literally this week. So.
JL talks about how much of snakes Kevin and Helena are, and they've lied to her face multiple times. She pitches to both of them and says she's never had any interest in working with Josh and Betty and wants to work more with them, and that if they let Josh stay, it's letting Betty keep her number one. They both agree this is a really strong point, and they once again are unsure of what to do now.
I want to stem back to a previous point I've repeatedly made. This is exactly why Gino being in the game wasn't good for Jacey-Lynne, because if you remember, Gino wanted this 4 of like him, Jacey-Lynne, Josh, and Betty, for Jacey-Lynne to now say she didn't really want to work with them. So it's like, if he wasn't in the game, if he wasn't in the game, I think she probably does work closer with Kevin.
I mean, I don't think Gino really wanted that either. It was just kind of like a voting block.
No, he did. He was serious about it, from what I heard.
Maybe.
He was serious. He wanted that to be the final 4.
Maybe.
That's what I read.
Unless he was just like thinking about it, but who knows?
No, I think Gino wanted it, but Jacey-Lynne never really did. So
Josh talks to Kevin and brings up how much JL needs to go, and his best chance of winning is to go to final 2 with him. Haleena comes in and Kevin asks her in front of him if they should evict him, which really annoys Josh with how much they're treating.
Why would she do that? Like,
they're treating this like a joke, and Josh tells them he'd throw the HOH to him or Haleena. They somehow believe him, and when in reality he intends to target them the second he wins HOH.
I just don't understand how they believed this. Like, it didn't make any fucking sense. It is Final 4. Why are you going to throw the HOH at Final 4 and give somebody else power to potentially evict you?
I mean, technically, Final 4 is more about Veto.
Yes, but that person is safe. They can't be put on the block. Like, it's still definitely important. So it's like...
Oh, for sure.
You know, I just don't know why they believe this at all. And I also don't know why they decided to, like, you know, mockingly say, oh, are we going to vote him out and things like that. Like, it just was not good for either of them here. They did not, like I said, they did not play this week well, like, at all.
No, they really didn't.
And it sucks because, like, they've been playing great, but, like, this week,
like, they're honestly, like, one of the best BB Can duos.
Oh, easily. And I've, like, people have been comparing them to, like, you know, Daniel Reyes and Jason and things like that. And I definitely see that, but I haven't watched that season, but I doubt Daniel Reyes.
Daniel and Jason, they were so good. I
haven't watched that season, but I doubt.
It's been a while since I watched that season, but it's good.
Yeah, but I highly doubt that Daniel Reyes and Jason struggled this much with a vote as much as Kevin and Haleena did.
It's time for the Lev eviction, and Josh brings up how much he'd be the best decision for everyone's game. And JL makes a pitch saying she doesn't realize why no one has the guts to evict Betty or Josh, considering how many times they've been nominated. But she thinks they're going to go down as one of the strongest duos in BB Can history, and she wants to see them go far and win it all. It's funny because Betty was just laughing.
Yeah, no, they didn't take this seriously at all. And I saw some people on Twitter, like, talking about this. I think she really was just talking about how, like, they've been nominated so many times and never left, and that was just, like, really funny to her. It's just the way that she said it was definitely not the best.
It's just like she's got a really good underdog story.
Yeah, definitely.
And after constantly going back and forth between both noms, the ghosts finally settle on evicting JL.
Which I don't think was the right move for them, to be honest.
No, but, it really wasn't. Because, like, she literally said she would have stuck with them.
Yeah.
Even if she was like, oh, yeah, trying to tell people, like, hey, yeah, we need them to go, she would have still stuck with them.
And her pitch was, like, a lot better than Josh's. Like, Josh's pitch didn't make any sense when you really think about it. And I feel like I just feel like Kevin, like, would have thought more about this. Like, how didn't Kevin figure out that, like, yeah, maybe Josh is playing here? He's gotten, like, he's literally so snowed by Josh right now. I don't know what is happening.
Literally. Oh. Arisa asks if she's actually rooting for both of them in jury, and she says she's stunned they've been able to survive the block so many times. She asks if she would have stayed loyal to Kevin and Haleena, and she says she saw them as her best chance in the game. And she feels Josh and Haleena will be at final 2.
I don't think that's going to be the final 2. I don't think that's...
Maybe not. We'll see.
I feel like Josh takes Betty, like, no matter what. I don't really see him taking Haleena.
I feel like Betty and Haleena could take each other.
I could see that. I could definitely see that because Betty's gonna recognize that Josh is gonna win the game, and I don't think I think she wants to be final two with Josh, but I also think she wants to win the game.
I feel like every vote is at least gonna be close.
Maybe.
I don't see it being unanimous at all.
Well, I'm very dubious of Haleena based on the next thing we're going to talk about.
She then sees a few goodbye messages, including a particularly savage one from Haleena that could cost her the game.
This is horrible, straight up. Like, yeah, did Haleena lie? No, she didn't. It
was very entertaining, but like, girl, no.
But really, really bad jury management all around.
I mean, because she was like saying that she's like strong and independent, and I guess she was just trying to say that she doesn't just need love to get far.
That's not what she said.
No, that's basically what she was trying to say.
I think that's what she was trying to say, but what she basically said is like, I'm better than you because I'm still here and you're not, which is like not what you should say, especially when someone's leaving the house. Like, Haleena's jury management has just been really bad all around. And I just don't think she's in a position where she can win. I don't think it can happen.
She can, but like she just really she needs to own it.
I don't think she can win. Like, she doesn't have many moves that she's done on her own.
No, I think everyone has a chance. They just need to like really like talk about what they did and stuff.
I don't know. Like, Haleena's resume is very very small because all the things that she wanted to do didn't happen. Remember when she wanted Hermon out? That didn't happen. Remember when like she tried to do other things? That didn't happen. Anything that she did was pretty much successful because of Kevin. She won 2 vetoes, didn't do anything with them. And then she's had some really piss poor jury management, just not really doing a good job of, showing the respect. And you compare that to Kevin, who gave a phenomenal goodbye message. Let me just say, like, he did a great job, like talking about the crash test dummies, explaining why that was like important for his game. And if you watch interviews, like Jacey-Lynne's now saying, yeah, Kevin's the front runner to win the game now for her. So like
I was reading that like Jacey-Lynne thinks that Betty's playing the worst game,
which is interesting. I feel like a lot of people don't know.
I just think Jacey-Lynne never liked her.
No, but I've
never seen it. Just seems like it.
No, I agree with that. But no, going back to what I'm saying, I just think that Halena's jury management has just not been very good at all, and I think it is going to unfortunately cost her the game. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see.
There's been scenarios where like I thought someone had really bad jury management and I thought it was really going to hurt them and then it didn't. So I don't know. As of right now, I feel like Haleena has the least chance of winning out of everyone.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. There's only one week remaining in the game, and the finale will be 2 hours. And Wednesday will be a special eviction at 7.
Yes. So we're at Final Four now. Haleena, Betty.
Oh, Josh. Wait. I just realized, I think these 4 actually had an alliance pre-jury.
Did they?
Because I remember reading that they made a group. It was Betty, Josh, Haleena, and Kevin.
I didn't think it was like a successful one.
Because like I remember they were working. I think they were like really working together, like behind the scenes a bit.
Well, I will say.
I think that's what I've read. But I remember them making an alliance.
Well, I will say this Final Four.
So it is impressive that they made it.
Well, I will say this Final Four is easily one of the most interesting in a long time because it's literally 2 duos. You have Betty and Josh, and you have Kevin and Haleena, and I think that's really exciting. And both of them want the other out. Like this doesn't. I feel like we don't get a Final Four like this very often. Very often, it's like we have the people that they were carrying along, and there's those few people, there's like a clear winner. Like, I don't think there's a clear winner here right now. Like, it could be Betty, it could be Josh, it could be Kevin, it could be Haleena, but I feel like it's kind of slim. But I feel like they all have really interesting stories. They all have really solid cases. And I generally don't know what is going to happen here aside from the information that we know, which we're not going to say right now because we're going to save that for the Wednesday eviction.
Yeah.
But no, all around, I think this is a really impressive Final Four. I think honestly,
I think it's like one of the best Final Fours for sure. Because I mean, I honestly, I love all of them. And I mean, I'm happy with any of them winning. But I mean, I'm mostly rooting for the girls. But I mean, I'm rooting for any of them. Like, I'm happy with either way.
I'm rooting for Betty and Kevin. I think they've played the best games. Josh is definitely like, the thing with Josh is that I think he's in a similar position to like Xavier in Big Brother 23, where like he didn't do a ton to like really help himself. He just got lucky. But he also did a really good job, I think, of like the final four, for example, like the final five, for example, the way he was able to like get Betty back on his side and things like that. So he definitely does have like a pretty strong case and things like that. I just think that Betty has like the perfect underdog story. And then Kevin just like, Kevin ran the season. Like Kevin ran the season, no question about it.
Oh yeah,
he did. Flamed out a bit this week, but if he's able to bounce back, I think he has definitely one of the most dominant games. Without winning comps either, which is really impressive. Like that's something else that we haven't brought up with Kevin, is that he hasn't even won many comps, and yet he's been able to control the house in the way
he's just like incredibly strategic.
Yeah, he definitely is. So yeah, overall, I think it's a really solid Final Four, and I'm really happy with pretty much anyone winning here.
It's so good. It's a great Final Four.
Yeah, for sure. But other than that, that's really it for BBCan. We have, like I said, 2 more podcasts left, and then we're done. We're done with the season, Allie. And either Halena's winning or I'm winning the draft. That's where we're at this point, because I have 3 of the Final 4.
I know.
So we'll see
what
happens.
To be fair, we didn't even know like how the season would end up when we like drafted.
That's how a draft works.
I know. But yeah, like we a lot of them were like, is this person gonna do well? Is this person gonna do bad?
That's how a draft works.
I know.
But anyway,
it was fun. And it was a very competitive draft.
Yes. But anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will see you guys in our next video, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.